money in the bank. Hit you with the 808. Hit you with the 808.
we are here to see the best of the best here in Asia Pacific for the VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific 2023. This is Open 3. Tash Bunny here alongside Donut. We are your analysts for today.
I'm very excited for today's Open 3. Of course, the Swiss stage has already happened, right? And we are getting into the playoffs. A lot of the teams really did fight for their lives, but we're gonna be seeing like exciting teams new to Game Changers, at least for the playoffs, that we will be seeing tonight.
Yeah, so we do have, usually in every single Open, at least for last year, from what I've seen, we usually see the same teams over and over again, at least toward the last few. And this year is no exception. For the first series for today, we have the best team currently here in Game Changers Asia Pacific, SMG, going up against, I would say, the underdogs, which is Deviant Topaz. If you guys are not familiar with this team has been trying to make it through the qualifiers, through the Swiss stage for quite some time now. And finally, after a few roster changes, they finally found the secret recipe for success.
Yeah, I mean, the secret recipes for these teams, right? You have to really be cooking each and every time, each and every Open. You try something new, put a little bit of the ingredients there, and then probably see whether or not this recipe is the success for you. And I loved seeing these adjustments for certain teams, right? And each and every time, these adjustments may or may not work, depending on how they use it during the playoffs, where it matters the most. Because, of course, for Game Changers, the roadmap is pretty long. It's going to be an arduous journey throughout Open 1, 2, and 3.
Yep, right now we're on stage 1 still. We have a $10,000 prize pool per tournament, which means that for this tournament itself, $10,000 is on the line. Where we had Open 1 and 2 already, and now for Open number 3. Now, after this is all done, we're going to go to stage 2, which is going to be the last chance qualifiers. It's the last chance for these teams to make it into stage 3, which is the Elite, where everyone's eyes are on. Because for Elite, for 8 teams from Open 1 and stage 1 and stage 2, will be making it to Elite, but only one will be making it to the championship at the end of the year.
Yeah, the championship is really what everybody else would be looking for. But I think for all of the stages that we have seen, at least for stage number 1, all of these Opens really matter because the qualified teams will rack up points for them, and the 6 teams will actually move forward into Elite already. And this is the last chance for some of the teams to rack up some points so that they would be sitting pretty calm, pretty at the very top while they wait for their opponents during LCQ. But for the qualified teams, we mentioned this already, right? There are some familiar teams here for Game Changers APAC, but there are also some strangers to us that really needs introduction.
I think it's really interesting because when we look at how each year goes by for these teams, most of these teams we've seen from last year. And even if they were a new team, we would likely see players that we've seen compete before, like Anomaly No Charms. Previously was from, well, at least most of the players was from Nigma Galaxy. But then you have a team like Deviant Topaz, which we barely know. And apparently this team has been around for quite some time. We don't know them quite yet. But enough about that, because we're going to be talking about the prize pool for today. Well, at least for this tournament, $10,000, where all eyes are on first place with $3,500 to bring home.
Yeah, a lot of that excitement. It's not just about the glory of winning the championship, but it's also about the glitz and the glamour of taking home that prize pool. Of course, the winner will get the biggest share, but second and third and fourth place will be given a reward as well for all of their effort all throughout Open number 3. Of course, for those that have already qualified, they will be getting a little bit of a consolation prize. Even if they get eliminated, at least they bring something home in their pockets, as of course they try and qualify for LCQ if they don't really rack up that much points.
I think it's really interesting is that these conversations that I had with the girls, and when we asked them like what's on the line for them actually, and that's it, it's just to qualify for champions, because all these girls, they've played against each other for so long, they know each other, but the experience of being able to play on a bigger global stage, that is something that everyone wants. Bigger competition, trying to prove themselves better coming in from Asia Pacific. As we know, we only have one slot to champions, and they want to make it, or they want to prove themselves to be worthy of that one singular slot. Now, coming into today, or at least for the upper brackets, we can see here it's going to be Global Esports X NWJ. NWJ just rebranded or renamed themselves from Big Scythe to NWJ. I'm not too sure why this happened, but I really would love to know more about that. Followed by a Deviant versus SMG, which is happening on this stream. And after that, we are also going to be seeing ANC versus RRQ on this stream, secondary stream. You guys can check full sets.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned everything about proving worthy, right? All of these teams, they have fought throughout Open 1 and Open 2, but Open 3 will actually just really define whether or not they are worthy of that slot. And looking at our schedule for today, the first match that we will be seeing would be Deviant Topaz and as well as Team SMG. And I know you have a little bit of info about the first match already. Deviant Topaz, they might be new to the viewers out there, but of course everybody else knows Team SMG, right? For the second game, we will be seeing Anomaly No Charms versus RRQ, so that's something to watch out for.
I think it's really interesting as well because we're seeing some of the top 2 teams here in Asia Pacific compete against I would say one team brand new. No one really knows who they are because it's their first time making it to the playoffs. And then after that, we also have another team, which is Anomaly No Charms. Players have made it quite far. They have made quite a big name for themselves, at least under the organization. But to come back in another organization or at least a team that is a brand new name also will be something I would say is a little bit of pressure to really prove themselves or put their names up there once again. But coming back into our first matchup of the day, SMG versus Deviant Topaz. Now, as I said before, SMG has shown us not only just the firepower for the tournament. I think from last year, they were a very hungry team. They were a team that didn't really quite make it compared to Alter Ego Celeste. But then suddenly, there's this insane reshuffle where we see players from all around Southeast Asia come together, and it's just such a firecracker team with so much firepower. And it's definitely, after talking to Deviant Topaz's coach and the players, they are definitely very, very nervous.
Yeah, I think that's basically the theme all throughout for Game Changers, right? You try and shift, you try and reshuffle and see what really works for them. But I'm really proud to see a team like Deviant Topaz really make it after long years, right? Since 2021 that we've had Game Changers APAC to get to Elite, right? All of these teams, they have one goal, is to qualify for Elite and then eventually prove themselves worthy of being a champion for APAC. And with the likes of Deviant Topaz, right, after the years of hard work, like Yuna, for example, we've seen her play for other teams before, even for the playoffs for Game Changers, but now is their time to shine, and as you mentioned, to prove themselves worthy of that slot.
Speaking of that, though, we're going to put that aside because we're going to take a quick break. After this, let's have a look at the teams that are going up to head against each other before the first match. We are back. Welcome back, everyone. This is VCT Game Changers Asia Pacific 2023 Open number 3. Tash Bunny alongside Donut, your panelists for today. And today is a very exciting, or at least the opening match, at least, is going to be very exciting here on the main stream. If you guys are not aware, we have 2 streams going on right now. The main stream, which is where you're watching the premium stream. I'm just kidding. And also the sub stream that is happening as we speak. Now, we are going to be seeing SMG head-to-head against Deviant Topaz, the best here at least since Open 2. SMG, which have proven to us not only as an insane firepower team, but also insane in terms of teamwork and friendship, coming up against a team who has tried their best and finally making it here to playoffs.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough shell to crack, right? If you already have the firepower, but you also have that type of friendship that you would need to break in order to actually go through and break the barrier for you guys to win, that's gonna be a challenge. And all of these teams, right? You mentioned firepower, and I was reviewing all of the stats that we had throughout Open 2. The top 3 ladies for Game Changers Open 2 was actually from Team SMG. Number 1 would be Kuhaibi, second Shirazi, and then the third one would be the powerhouse, which is Princess Alexi. And this is going to be, as I mentioned, a tough competition for Deviant Topaz, who are still really trying to make a name for themselves as a team. They're a brand new team, but one of the challenges would be what type of identity do they have to show to be able to break the ground and really break through their competition.
I was having a little bit of a chat with their manager yesterday, and I did ask them, like, what are your expectations coming through? And for Deviant Esports, we know that they have quite a team. While we do not know most of the players, some of them have been playing for quite some time now. Now, for us, we have Balding Kneecaps, Puda, Toffee Waffy Tup, and Yuna. So if you guys were not aware, during the Swiss stage, Balding Kneecaps wasn't playing. It was actually Yuchan that was playing for her because she was sick. So technically, this is going to be her first, I would say, official match coming into this tournament, and it's going to be a very different dynamic, I believe, coming to the game. As we know, some subs and the main players can bring a different sort of vibe to the team. Now, coming into the team, if you guys are not aware, Ski, one of the subs, used to be in Toda Female, and Toffee Waffy only joined the team 2 weeks ago. That was very, very recent and became the co-IGL.
Yeah, that's a big shoe to fill, basically. If you're the IGL, you're quite new to the scene. But she's actually not new to Game Changers. We might have not seen her before during the broadcast, but we've seen her back in 2021 for the Zen Chivalry Sport. But we now go to the undefeated team, or the champions of Game Changers, at least for Open 1 and Open 2, Team SMG. We already talked about them. They're a powerhouse to APAC. Each and every time they would show up in the server, it seems that they would always dominate and come out on top. And as mentioned, right, all of the adjustments that we have seen from them before have been just really all checks for them, right? We mentioned that there might be some changes and some readjustments for some of these teams, but this whole package have been just dominating and punching through each and every competition here in Game Changers.
It's interesting because we're not seeing Shirazi play. It's going to be Tara up here today, and I'm curious what's going on. We can have a chat with them later if we do end up interviewing them. But coming back to SMG, I think SMG is just one of those, I would say, prime examples of what you can have or what you can expect in a team if you were to really nurture the players. Again, reminding all of you guys that not only does SMG have a facility, they also have I would say, a meditation moment every time before each match starts with their in-house esports psychologist, which really just sets the tone, the mood, and the momentum as well on how exactly they want to start and what exactly they want to achieve from each game. Regardless, enough talk about SMG. I think there's a lot of expectations coming here for Deviant Topaz, coming as a team that has not really had a presence here in the VCT Game Changers. And if you guys didn't know, they don't even really have an expectation. They just want to have fun and improve as a team, and they only just started Open 3 and they never really expected to win any matches, so they learned a lot from that. And speaking of learning a lot here, we're going to be learning that these 3 maps will be played today: Pearl, Lotus, Haven. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised that they didn't ban Pearl, because Pearl has been SMG's pick each and every Open. No matter how new Pearl is, they always find the stride and find something new when it comes to Team SMG. When it comes to their strats, right, they have experimented a double duelist comp, a double controller comp, and each and every time it works for them. So I'm quite surprised they let through Pearl. And they chose Lotus instead. So maybe they have something in store for us today, given that they will be selecting Lotus for us, and then Haven as the decider. Looking at the stats, right? I am gonna say that it might be heavily in favor of Team SMG just by looking at the maps. But of course, you mentioned they still have something to share with us, and there's not much expectation, but maybe they can wow us because there's zero expectations at all for the team.
I think that's one advantage to being Deviant Topaz, is that there's not a lot of information about them out there other than what's on VLRs, number one. Number two, not a lot of VODs either, because they haven't been competing in any official matches. So they can kind of like hide their strats, at least for teams that hasn't played against them. Well, meanwhile, for SMG, they have a lot of their strats out there, a lot of their bots. It's up to the team to really figure out how exactly to navigate this. And speaking about figuring things out, their coach, Folklore, he was actually the coach for No Namers, one of the powerhouses, at least for VCT MYSG in the previous year, which managed to make it as an underdog all the way to VCT APAC. Their team that had Sky, Vera, Thames, DXN, and Shun, some of the best here in Malaysia and Singapore. So if Folklore was able to cultivate that team and go very far as an underdog, a new team together, I have no qualms that he's going to be able to make some magic happen for Deviant Topaz as well. So coming into this game, I think there's a lot to talk about between these two teams, because we know in terms of how both teams, or at least the coaches, go for Fal as well as Folklore, the coaches are technically their friends. And for Fal, we saw how SMG and Fal were last open. They were all about having fun. They can troll together if they're ahead. They have this sort of bond coming through, and I'm curious to know whether or not we'll be seeing that bond shown in the game, just like them for Deviant Topaz.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned about the coaches, sometimes the readjustments and the reshuffles, it actually needs a bit of spice in them. And that spice is really the leadership that the coach can offer to the team. Because even independently, like the girls, whether they are skilled with that direction, sometimes they do get lost within the map and how they would play against. But here in Pearl, I think they need that spice, because Team SMG, they have one Pearl each and every time they play this map. About Deviant Topaz playing in Pearl, with a sample size of one, them winning it, 100% win rate, with just one map that they played all throughout the open 3. I think that's not enough for us to make an assumption whether or not they will win it. But yes, that spice is definitely needed given their agent selection.
I mean, from what we're seeing for SMG, it's all about that firepower. I'm surprised they're not running both Viper and Harbor, but coming into this, I'm guessing that what they want to do here, the double duelist comp, is what we saw during VCT Ascension for Asia Pacific. It's something that Bleed ran before, but what Bleed had was the Jet as well as the Reyna. Now for SMG, they're running the Raze. I mean, we've seen Alexian Raze, and it is possible that, you know, her preference for Raze might give a little bit more of an edge. Regardless for this, Camille can give a lot of information in terms of how she wants to initiate the Sky as well as for High B. But for Deviant Topaz, they're doing a little bit more, I would say, not really a standard comp because it's not necessarily the meta. But I'm curious to know how exactly they're going to be running this Fade as well as the Sky, because it is a double initiator sort of comp coming through.
Yeah, usually we would see the Harbor as like a duo with another controller, but Team SMG, they're just gonna go with the Harbor with Tyra playing it. We all know how Tyra is when it comes to her utility. It's very well thought of. Each and every time she makes a decision within the map, it's just stellar from Tyra. However, for Deviant Topaz, right, that double initiator setup, they will need all of those utilities to bring down the defenses of Team SMG for sure. And I hope to see most of that Sky play from Yuna, who's actually a Sky main for the team, to be as pristine and to be as clear when it comes to taking the maps and taking the rounds away from Team SMG.
It's going to be very interesting to be seeing the top dogs versus the underdogs for this tournament, and what they have learned and how exactly they're going to be navigating through much firepower. Now, coming into what we can expect for SMG is going to be aggression on attack and defense, because that is what you expect from a double duelist comp. The Reyna will be so good as a sub flash to really enable Alexi to take up a lot of space, to be able to kind of really help her in coming in for the double swings. But at the same time, as you said before, the the utilities come through from the double initiator can provide a lot of value. It can perhaps counter the aggressive play coming in from SMG. It's just a matter of fact how exactly each team will be passing the ball to each other, how they react to it. Because again, if the utilities are not, are not being thrown very well, if the utilities are being wasted, that means I would say all the advantage will fall to SMG's hands. Regardless, I think that our casters are ready. So ready or not, we're gonna pass it over to the top dogs versus the underdogs, SMG versus Deviant Topaz. Raf and Zach, take it away.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tash. Always a pleasure to be back here for Open 3. And like you mentioned, it's this classic story, David versus Goliath going up against each other. All the cards seem to be in favor of SMG. What do you think here, Raf?
My goodness, every time we see SMG, it's always the same story. They're permanently the Goliath. However, we did see them bleed just a little bit in that previous finals. But for our audience out there, if you're confused, if I look like Taylor, you are correct. So again, don't get me confused. My name is Taylor, that was Raf, so don't get it the other way around. Again, just a quick run through. That is Zach, I'm Raf. Taylor is somewhere in Europe right now, and I am really excited to be here again, guys. And what a banger to start the day, right?
Pretty much so. I mean, this veto, it's really interesting to me because map number 1, of course, Pearl makes sense. SMG, I don't think they've really ever lost on it with the exception of some close games. But overall, they've kind of changed things around. Last time, I think we saw, what was it, a 5 controller or a 4 duelist 1 controller comp coming through on this map. They ain't playing around that much this time. They do have their usual double duelist, in particular, Inari on that Reyna, which is always a pleasure to watch. But aside from that, they are playing it just a little bit more methodically. It's like, yeah, all this time we've been kind of messing around. Last open, we're gonna make sure that we submit in that spot. I'm pretty sure that they already have locked themselves in for elite at this point, but it's always good to have the most wins.
Oh yeah, I think it's also a statement that SMG have been fantastic the entirety of the season, and there's really no point in stopping now. And Deviant Topaz, very, very, I'd say, fresh onto our playoff scene. To run into SMG on their first dance is a little difficult, a little bit of a challenge.
Just a little bit, but at least you're getting it out of the way early. This is a double elimination bracket, so even if this doesn't go their way, they're not out of this tournament quite yet. But I'm touching upon the maps again. What I was trying to build onto was the second map, which is Lotus here. So this is a map that, pretty interestingly, Deviant now so far Deviant Topaz, they haven't lost it yet. It's just a map that they have 100% win rate on so far, at least. So I think that map number 2 is going to be pretty interesting to watch out for. But make no mistake, as much as I really like the spunk that Deviant is holding, I think it's going to be an uphill battle every step of the way here against a team like SMG.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, SMG have just proven their worth time and time again, no matter what type of composition they would go for. I'm honestly really relieved that they did go for a very aggressive one. I've been asking for this comp since last open, for them to run that Reyna chamber combination again, because that was when we really saw them bully their way into sites and just take up straight fights. And I'm not gonna diminish any of the strategic value it brings anyway, because SMG is just daring you to win the fights first, as Love will actually draw first blood here. Inari, quick to trade, but again, the numbers, they're still even despite everything.
Yeah, 2 kills apiece coming in. Now, the spike itself has gone down on SMG. After re-clearing main, they are going to be able to set up here. Once again, Alexi, pristine headshots coming in, taking out Buda right there. Though Yuna is able to at least find the frag. Now, 2v2 situation, an area with that overheal, just looking absolutely deadly on that Reyna. Spike gets that talking off. He has to touch out this 1v2, gets the headshot, but that classic isn't going to be doing enough. And Inari with the 3k to start things off with a pistol for SMG.
You see?
And that is not a good sign. If you're Deviant Topaz, you can't let Inari get hot at the very beginning of the match here. A Vandal, a lot of confidence already being, I guess, displayed here. And I honestly thought that Deviant Topaz had a great start here, but maybe just a few overextensions, especially with the Sky taking the fight at the choke when the flash was available. But I digress. Deviant Topaz, it's great that they're not backing away and shying away from SMG.
Yeah, I really like the play that they had where they took super early initiative to take control of A main. Now they've gone for this kind of B-stack situation, and the read seems to be accurate at the very least. SMG, this is where they're kind of running things down here. Towards the back of sight, the Haunt is perfect. The trigger discipline as well to net tab a kill. That's not going to be enough though. An area on the other hand with the Vandal. Tara with the Guardian as well. Kills coming through across the board. Huda though, the Shorty is at least able to take out the Vandal here. Now a 1v3 surrounded on all sides is Huda, and no chance to really pick up these guns either. So it's just going to be having her making these close range fights somehow work out.
And she's gonna attempt to do that. The Vandal is there. It's incredibly tempting, but Huda still has not been able to get it. The utility is gonna land, but despite everything, despite surviving for as long as she did, Camille is gonna clean up, and SMG is going to have a pretty decent anti-eco round here. That was quite expensive on the side of Inari. Thankfully, they did retrieve the Vandal, so with the Empress up, plus the weapons in hand, we are going into a true gun round here perhaps. Tara's Guardian is going to scale very, very well here. Maybe an adjustment on the side of Deviant Topaz. Or a tech pause. Nice.
It would not be APAC without tech pauses, no matter which tournament we're casting. Isn't that right, Raf?
That's true. Oh man, feels good to be home.
Yes. But talking about that last round in particular, it was a nice read from Deviant that SMG like to go to be on these anti-eco round, trying to take advantage of those ranged gunfights. So that stack up, they were able to take down at least one Spectre, I believe. Not too much damage done. You do see Tup charging up that Blade Storm bit by bit, currently leading the frag board here for Topaz. For SMG though, it's just been the Inari show all the way. Now an open one, it was kind of really sad when you didn't see Inari in action, especially after the show that she gave all the way back last year. But since Open 2, she's been stepping it up.
Absolutely. It's like she never left. And now having her, again, ultimate in hand, she might just spearhead a very, very quick burst here, at least against the side of Topaz. I'm curious if Tub is ever going to pick up the operator here. I think the economy did allow it, or if she had enough for a Blade Storm, then maybe she would have considered it here. Because so far SMG, they're just really going for the simpler stuff here. You know, hey, let's see if DV can stop our pushes. Let's see if they can stand up to the gunfights first before we try to do any of these complicated set play. But as I mentioned that, Yuna actually finds Alexi and Inari. She's still going to get that trade frag. And SMG, they still have a pretty decent footing on this attack. However, DV doing a good job of splitting this offense up and just falling back to safety.
It's like you're driving a wedge right down the middle of a plank of wood. These players on DV cut off from each other here. Only one, the Killjoy, gonna be stuck alone on B. And after making this much noise towards mid, SMG, they're kind of trying to regroup to try and hit this A site through Art. 3 players now along with the Spike making their way through. And there's a sort of crossfire being held by here. I don't know how much more value they can find. Subdo starts things off. Huge kill to Mary. Huda following up with 2 of their own. And this early control pays off for DV big time as they take their first shot.
Beautiful. Well executed hold there from DV and stopping SMG from that snowball. We've talked about it many, many times. SMG is, again, bar none, the best team at controlling those first 4 to 5 rounds. And for Deviant Topaz to stand up to them and, again, cleanly execute despite losing a member first is already a great sign of this team. And our desk actually talked about how Topaz is just really thankful to be here. No expectations whatsoever, at least from their end, but they are just doing so well despite everything.
Now though, it's going to be SMG's full buy round already. You see Topaz using some utility to delay this onslaught from SMG. Again, their reads have been so good over the course of this particular game. Kind of 3 players stacked up towards this A side, a 4-4 backup from Art, and SMG seems like they still want to push the issue on this particular site. They are going to be a bit more careful this time around, putting in the Trailblazer as well. Has an additional bit of utility, setting Alexi with a judge. 2 kills already for her, and Neri is there for the remainder. Suddenly, all 3 players on site, they've been decimated. Well, just like that though, once again, the post plan comes down and Deviant players left. You do see Toffee able to kind of walk around and take out Zohaibi. Buddha as well finding yet another kill, so sadly this doesn't look as impossible, but Camille will deny that final thing, and in a 1v3, might be just best for Toffee to save, but not even going to have the opportunity. Tara will just barge forward and take her out.
The reads have been great, as you mentioned, but SMG, they are just being really, really stubborn here. They saw initial contact and initial resistance on the side of Deviant Topaz, but they had other plans in mind. Alexi going for that judge. I would say that's a pretty cheeky pick on, especially on Pearl, right? Where you would think, oh, there's a lot of long-range fights that I could possibly take, but hey, you know what? Let's go take it close and personal. Let's get a judge going. And I think Topaz was pretty surprised with that set play as well.
Well, if it works once, run it down again seems to be the call here. Alexi now backed up with that showstopper as well after picking up that ultimate orb. So, yeah, not that she needs it, but an additional bit of space still coming in. And this time around, Deviant, they just abandoned the side. They're like, yeah, we're probably going to see you guys hit here. We're just going to go for the retake opportunity.
I like that. I like that adjustment from Topaz a lot, you know, and see, or rather it's showing how malleable they are as a team and how quickly they can just trust the call. Hey guys, you know, we try to anchor hard on the site. We're going for a fast hit, and we haven't really set our feet here, so let's not be stubborn. As Tofi Wolfie is going to find an area here, so that's the tip of the spear broken. However, there's already bleeding here from the spike, from the post plant. Alexi has to find some value off that judge too. Blades can't find anything. Suddenly, Topaz, they break through this post plant. And Alexi, can she be the hero? No, absolutely not.
Really, really nice retake coming out of DV. They expected that showstopper to play, just got the hell out of dodge on that ace side, and they came back swinging. In particular, I really like the positioning coming out of Toffee, being able to fully capitalize after that first kill on the utility provided by the rest of the team there to take this round through. 3 kills on the round for the Killjoy, and I believe that's going to give her the lockdown as well for the next round.
Oh, so that is going to be quite a big snowball on the side of Topaz. They do have the ability to just kind of make it a passive threat, keep SMG guessing, and maybe just change the pace. SMG, they only have a hero Vandal and Airy here. We've seen that do quite a bit of damage. Deviant Topaz, they also have ults to respond with. A lot of poking and prodding happening towards the middle portion of the map here. And I gotta say, that Fade utility is helping them brawl so much, but Airy's throwing haymakers left and right. Top is gonna fall. They're trying to make this as expensive as it is. Coffee's gonna get a trade onto Tara, and I believe this is gonna reset the fight.
Yeah, bringing things back down to a 4v4 here. Now, Kamiyu still has a couple of Seekers of her own if she chooses to use it. Mary has popped that Empress as well. They're just trying to play together. SMG, they are really, really good at this trading game, and that might be their opportunity to really capitalize here. Now, on the backup side, Casey is able to find that first one. Looking for the second, does take down an area, so that's the rifle taken down here. Kamiyu and Ivy now in a 2v3 scenario towards main, caught in the open. Kamiyu, though, gets a headshot despite being super low here, and now in this 2v2 situation, this lockdown enemy you know, walking up takes out Kamiyu, where brings it down to a 1v1, but it's gonna be the Killjoy coming out on top for this Battle of the Sentinels.
My goodness, another nail biter of a round here from, well, at least courtesy of both these teams. Team SMG, though, doing so much damage despite having a pretty limited buy at the beginning of that round, but maybe a slight overcommitment on the side of even Topaz to really let that Fate ult rip. But well, once again, the results, they speak for themselves. They still got the round. However, this might hurt their economy and their ult economy moving forward.
Get him.
Oh dear. Doesn't seem...
Sorry, my mic was muted. A little bit of a mistake there, but yes, Kohibi at least is a little bit close to that bronze debut. But aside from that, SMG, they're just struggling in these kind of situations. They usually take these gunfights at a bit of an advantage, so they've just been kind of falling behind once again. The side being left open by DV, going in for that retake setup, and that lockdown is no longer a point of contention though, so it's going to be a bit more difficult for them.
Absolutely, they still have a numbers advantage to deal with here. Alexi's only going to make that problem worse on the side of Deviant Topaz. Notes to be at least anything high impact here. And Airy taking yet another raw duel here against Puda, so this might just be a save call. We do have that Cosmic Divide if they choose to use it, but time is winding down. And as we mentioned, it is a save call here. SMG again, not really making their attack overly complicated, but I think it's really the rhythm that they're doing it at is throwing DV in a rut. If SMG goes really fast, then it feels like, oh, do we have to anchor or do we have to call that retake as early as, again, just the first sign of utility, or do we just gamble?
I mean, in that particular round, at least, the gamble didn't work out. And the thing is, if Toffee hadn't been that one player to fall, this round could have entirely turned on its head. But the fact is, without that lockdown, it was just incredibly difficult for DV to really even try to get onto the site, especially with how much control SMG had already gained at that point. At this point for SMG, they do have that reckoning from Tara to try and buy a little bit more time towards that backside, especially on A, or just use it to push onto site. It can be a really powerful ult, but it's best used in conjunction with other pieces of utility, and Kamiyu's Seekers might be the perfect trade here. Now SMG applying some early mid pressure after the last couple of rounds of them directly rushing onto site, and DV, they just fall back. However, SMG, they look to go even further here. Smokes come down towards the backside. That's going to be Toffee while feel alone. All pieces of utility being triggered, and Nearly just walks through that alarm bot and volley to get these crucial kills. Alexi with the satchels positioned up there as well will finally be taken down from damage. It's already been done here. Every single player of SMG fighting for the space here. They put in their Seekers as well, and off the back of that, Ineri is going to be on the hunt, on the prowl. 2 kills on the round already, and Puda caught by that Seeker. They're going to know exactly where this last player is, fighting for dear life here as SMG. They take yet another round. 1v4, Puda, full dog in hand. How much more can this player find? Or will she even be allowed to save?
Well, that is a very, very good question to ask here. SMG, they still have quite a few bodies to throw if that might be the case, but no, Puda looks like she is going to just deny the extra orb if that would ever happen. As you mentioned, there was a bit of an investment here on the side of SMG, and I have to say, this is something that we're not used to, especially when it comes to an SMG match, right? Typically, we would see SMG at this point in time already be nearing double digits, but Deviant Topaz, they have just been such a pleasant surprise in how they've been so adaptable. So again, it doesn't seem like they're shaken just by the sheer thought of, well, pretty much going against the back-to-back champs in the form of Team SMG and just their track record in general.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, an open one? 33 maps in a row to take the trophy? Something like that, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, it's just like when you're going up against the monster that people tell stories about. Like, this is the team that you really don't want to face at the end of it. It seems like Topaz, they're completely unfazed. Sure, they've been having a couple of off moments, but overall, I like that you brought up their adaptability. They've been very quick to pivot as to how SMG is playing. And SMG as well, credit to them, they're changing things up. The last couple of rounds, they've been rushing down the sides. Now, after setting that conditioning, they're going back to applying that mid pressure. And unlike that first time where we saw that mid pressure fail in that bonus round, they're just able to stick together and quickly make a move off of it instead of getting bogged down in the middle and giving DV time to adapt. So overall, it's been going quite well for them. Both teams have proven to be extremely adaptable. It's just that for SMG's side, the firepower seems just a little bit higher, especially with Ineri just getting kill after kill, round after round on that radar.
Absolutely, and sometimes it does come down to those minute differences, and maybe Minute is underselling it a little bit here on the side of SMG because they definitely have a lot of layers. You talked about how both these teams have excellent protocol, but at the end of the day, it is an FPS game, so you gotta click on the people's heads here. And they've been doing just that. A hard hit towards the side here. Nobody falling just yet, but that is going to be the controller on the side of DV, taking the brunt.
One enemy remaining.
Exactly what you want to see from your duelists in your ranked games. The stuff that never happens. Alexi and Ineri just go all the way, running in, literally running in, go towards that backside and find every single kill between themselves, setting up Ineri with that Empress for the 3rd time this game so far, and Alexi with the 2nd showstopper, only 1 away from it. SMG, they've been able to kind of work together on getting these ults for this next round. Not that they seem to need it the way Ineri is getting these kills, but they have the answers, or at least some kind of counter to that lockdown and Nightfall. Sorry, the lockdown and Cosmic Divide that's still available in the hands of the... Ivy and Ineri Visionary, though, once again, just dismantling this opposition as quickly as possible. You do see the updraft does have to dodge the main shells, but it's just not going to work out. The pinch across the map is just too much for these players on DV to contend with. Kamiyu as well with the timing on mid, able to find these crucial kills. Toppy walking in a 1v5 situation. Alexi going in for the kill, and it's going to be the wall bang to close things out here. Absolutely nasty work. I think Raf has been shocked silent by that play, and honestly, Raf, I completely agree with you. You know, first couple of rounds, you did see a bunch of strategic plays coming out of SMG. It seemed like they were testing the waters with their opponents, and now that they've gotten the measure of DV, they know that DV has some really good protocols, that they're really good at setting up for the retake. But how do you set up for a retake if you just take out all of the opposition, which seems to be SMG's strategy in the last couple of rounds?
You want to play? Let's play.
Alarm bot down.
Pretty being taken by Topi here. And not entirely sure what was the end goal there. The Bucky definitely wanted to get a little bit of value, but SMG and their snowball seems like it's getting to the point of critical mass here. DV, quite a few eco rounds being strung along, unfortunately, on their end. And SMG, they can smell blood in the water here. I don't know what really changed, but Deviant Topaz looking to get chipped out. And Yuna and BKC still looking to find just a little bit of value.
Kamiyu has been single-handedly thwarting the flank so far. 2 kills on the round for her already. Probably looking to charge up the Seekers one more time for that next round. I wouldn't put it past her. And in the meantime, Alexi, already having gotten a kill with that showstopper towards this particular part of the map, is looking to push out even further, re-clear that flank side. And that was just going to be Yuna, very more than ready for that peek. Just taps her in the head, and that will be SMG
Last
finding
round
8.
in the half.
Now, one more round left in the half. Topaz, they do have the ults to work with. They just haven't really had an opportunity to put them down, because the last 3 or 4 rounds in a row, SMG have just been deleting them from the map in like the first 10 seconds.
What I find interesting too is that BKC has been holding on to that cosmic divide for quite some time now. I feel like this is a common occurrence, especially with Astra players, and you did mention that some of these ults are way better off being comboed with other things, but SMG, they have just been so good at disjointing and Paz want to do. Hopefully they can stop the bleeding though. Quite a bit of resistance will be met towards mid. And Deviant Topaz, they finally get a semblance of control here. They do have a 2-person.
They are able to. They are able to at least get that spike down, and Alexi finds that first kill. The problem is that the lockdown is still going to be a point of contention. However, Alexi, through the smoke and the spam, is able to get a kill and also be able to take out that crucial ultimate. Now that Cosmic Divide not going to have nearly as much value. Alexi still playing aggressively. Going to be punished for it though, fighting here for the trades. And Kohaimi will find the last 3 kills to take this half to 9. SMG find a dominant first half on attack. And before the side switch, let's have our analysts break it down.
One dead. Enemy remaining.
Thank you very much, Darkcaster, Zach, and Raf. What an interesting first half, rather. When you look at the game, I think the most interesting thing is the fact that SMG wasn't able to snowball very, very early. I think it was up until round number 5, where we start to see, after that, I would say that timeout by Deviant Topaz, that SMG really started to heat up. What happened there?
Yeah, I think there was a lot to do with them trying to get a grasp of how the defense really worked out for Deviant Topaz. And then during the timeout of DV, they used it against them basically and tried to find different ways on how to attack the site. I saw that in the side of A, they used to be covering left for Inari and then right for Alexi, and that all changed whenever DV would actually capture that type of play. and use it against Team SMG. And then how it really changed was they moved and overwhelmed each and every time to one part of the site and then cleared it all together. And that's why it was really uncontrollable for DV to try and counter that type of push. And during round number 8, I saw that they made sure to create more of that balance on towards the site, and when they have already captured it, just push everybody else at the back of the site and then try and take the space away from DV.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that during their defense, they would do the same, because even on the defense, right, Team SMG can play aggressive and they do it beautifully.
Yeah, that's right. But for now, game's ready for second half. Let's see who takes it back. Passing it over to Zach and Raf.
Well, that is definitely a question that we have to address here. I did say that Deviant Topaz had a nice advantage getting the first 2 picks, but, well, you know how SMG operates. They love to just prove everybody wrong. Nope, absolutely not. No advantage whatsoever. However, we do have a few superstitious folk in the chat that do believe in the 9-3 curse. Do you believe that exists, Zach?
The 9-3 curse, I think it's more psychological than anything, but it's also called the caster's curse, so the less we say about it, the better. At least for SMG, though, I don't think at this point they're far past needing luck. Now with the side swap coming in, Deviant and Val gonna be on that attacking side, and we talked a little bit about how good their defensive protocols were and how good they were at adapting, but against a team like SMG and the sheer amounts of utility that they have in their arsenal, it's going to be very interesting as to how they actually manage to take that space, because Telp is on the jet, sure, she has that tailwind activated, but how much utility can they really use here? Already investing that prowler to push Kahaibi off this particular angle, and SMG, they're quick to kind of stack up and provide that backup. Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, that is as quick as Kahaibi can get, fighting top here, so no more duelists on the side of DV as quickly as SMG take mid here. A lot of resistance has been met, so DV, they have to take the safest route possible, but how safe is it going to be, as Alexi's already flooding the lanes here? Buddha is going to have something to say about that, and now they have pretty much a free ticket towards B. There is already an advanced defense here by Tara, so that wall is going to hopefully shoo Deviant Topaz away, but with the Fade utility that's been helping them just fight it out, is going to prove invaluable yet again. As SMG, they're still looking to take this problem on, and a post plant has already been set. BKC already on that crossfire. They have 2 eyes towards the flank. However, all the members on SMG here prefer to take the fight very, very front facing. Right low is BKC as a big double on the side of Yuna, reducing this to a 1v1. Actually has the HP advantage. Camille can't use that heal for herself.
Oh, nice try, mate.
But what is that? The tree has been planted and the seeds of discord perhaps on the side of DV slowly taking root. SMG steals yet another round.
22 HP. Any pistol shot would have taken out Camille there, but Camille just plays that to perfection, fakes out the top, checks that backside, knows that it's going to be the wraparound, and gets the wall bang to close it out. A really nice try coming out of DV there to bring it so close, but almost the 1v3 for Yuna as well. That's gotta be a heartbreaker, but still SMG, they walk away with that pistol and are looking pretty close to locking this map out. Only 3 rounds left there, so still a bit of a way to go, but the way they've been playing so far, it just leaves very little room for error, and DV, they just can't afford more of it. They are gonna be forcing up in this particular round. You see 4 Stingers and a Spectre, and Toffee Bucky does get that player to lead the charge. The Bucky doesn't exactly connect though, and Toffee finds first blood.
Does not connect is out for that, but Inari bringing all her unsuspecting victims with a Bulldog and DV with their pretty much forced buy here. Finding early value, however, the follow-up somewhat lacking as the rest of SMG cleaned this round up very, very quickly. And now we are at the penultimate round here, Zach. It is looking mighty dangerous on the side of Topaz. I mean, this is where they have to say, hey, this is difficult but not impossible. They have to keep their head in the fight. However, this is still SMG's pick, so maybe no harm, no foul.
Yeah, of course, we talked about it a little bit. Lotus, of course, that 100% win rate, something that is going in DV and Topaz's favor there. But for this map number 1, at least, that's a really bad spot to be in because they forced up last round, so their economy is going to be absolutely down in the dumpster here for DV. Only sheriffs across the board, and unless they somehow hit some miraculous shots, it looks like SMG, they're going to be getting match point for free, basically.
Potentially, but we have seen crazier things happen here. The Guardian on the side of Tara just to, again, dominate the range, but BKC providing a little bit of support here, getting Inari out of the way first. The rest of the gang on SMG's side, they're being very, very patient here, hoping that Deviant Topaz might overcommit on the pick, but they know better. There are still a few bulldogs and just long-range weaponry in the side of SMG that can punish any over-eager opponent.
Problem is that where Inari went down as well, I don't think that's a gun that can be comfortably retrieved by the Stevie squad, so that does seem to be the goal here. It's a Spectre, sure, it's not much. It would be better to have a Bulldog or a Vandal or even that Guardian, but unfortunately that is all they have to work with. Now Camille, aware of it, will be holding down this angle, timing coming through, finds the kill as well, and that will be the trade that SMG kind of wanted and needed there. You do see BKC approaching once again to try and make this a little bit more expensive here.
30 seconds
again,
left.
SMG, they've regained the advantage. They're going to be putting in those Seekers with 30 seconds left for some additional information. And they know that DV is still kind of lurking around this mid area.
I really like that Seeker's call here just to really pile on the pressure towards DV. Time is winding down and they haven't really made any meaningful space here as Kami is going to find the value off that. But the numbers, they're still adding up on the side of SMG. Even Topaz don't look like they have enough time to really get this plant down despite the frags going their way.
That is so sad. Kohibi just, Alexi, they're kind of messing around, jumping around, and Kohibi is just like, okay, you've had your fun. It's time to stop playing. Let's move on here. So yeah, last round in the half, possibly here, SMG. They're actually one away from taking their map pick in their favor. The really good thing is that they're still kind of on that boat as spy. They have Tara on that Guardian, but everybody who died, they've gone for these major upgrades. Alexi, from the Bucky to the Judge, I think that's a pretty major upgrade. And of course, the Operator for the first time in Kohibi's hand. For Deviant, though, they do have a buy and a couple of ultimates.
I've got your trail.
They might be able to at least get this particular round if they play their cards right. Alexi, no. Alexi, what are you doing?
It's okay. Alexi has the power of pretty much the rest of her team literally behind her. It doesn't seem like this is gonna shoo away Deviant Topaz whatsoever, as they are committing a bit of utility already. The wall is gonna come down, but Inari is going to break through the duels and gets a huge triple kill just to stop whatever DV was planning. Camille on the other side of the map too, getting
pushed here now. It's just BKC in the corner. As an area already with the expectation that this is where this player is. Still hidden by the wall though, and Camille will tap her through it to get that final kill. SMG, they take map number 1. 13-3. Insane work coming out of them. To be fair, this was kind of like the expected result here, but nevertheless, it's always impressive to see that, and especially in area. I think that by the end of it, in 15 rounds, I think she probably had like a 30 bomb, so very, very impressive statistically.
As we mentioned, right, I really love the start of Deviant Topaz here, really going blow for blow against SMG. And SMG, they did the same thing too. They were really adapting to all the data that was being thrown their way. And after that first adjustment, it just seemed like SMG had everything under control. Whatever any attack, any defense could potentially branch out to was just denied before it could happen. And I would put a lot of credit into how aggressive they are, just denying mid away from Deviant Topaz. But I am absolutely certain that our panel has a lot more to say about that beautiful first map.
What a match, at least for the first match. I think that it's going to be such a statement play here by SMG. It's trying to say as though you do not challenge us on our map Pearl. We have perfected the art of this particular map. Now let's talk a little bit about the first half. I mean, we talked about it. I think that was a little bit of a breakdown, but I think there's more to talk about in that game. Coming in, I think we did see a little bit of a struggle in the beginning where SMG was trying to understand what exactly is being brought to the table by DV. As though by round number 5, you start to see the snowball starts to happen for SMG when they start to understand how exactly the minds of Deviant Topaz started to work, and it was very, very dominant, honestly.
Yeah, there's a lot to expect from Team SMG when it comes to their double duelist composition. And it's not a surprise at all that Ineri is going to be the MVP for that specific map, right? Raph
Yeah.
said it was beautiful. I think it's just a beautiful combination of the aggression as well as their ability to try and take control and swap and switch their strategies in the middle of the single map here on Pearl. And looking at how DV actually performed, right? We saw a lot of possibilities from Toffee Waffy as she would try to capture and sneak in and get the kills against Team SMG. However, it's not going to be enough against the aggression of Team SMG with 13. Of course, they won that specific map, but the first kills always goes in favor of Team SMG. And with all of the post plans, right? They started off on the attack, but they've won 9 out of 10 of the post plans versus, of course, DV when the sides have switched. I think they didn't really have that much time to recover even during halftime.
I don't think it's all about recovery as well, but I think it's all about that comp and what they wanted to execute with that comp that they had. The double initiator was supposed to enable them, at least for attacking side, but they didn't seem to be able to use those utilities to their advantage. Because so many times, how many times did we see the Fade Prowler come out or even the Haunt come out? It's immediately taken out by SMG. Yes, they have the information that there are players there, but how many are there? How many people are holding the site? How are they playing it? We did see a change in round number 15, I believe, where they start to really change the way they play, how they take up space. But not only it was a little bit too late, but on top of that, while they were trying to take space, they were losing aim jewels. They weren't able to take meaningful space. Yes, it was a close round on round number 15, but what can they do more when their economy is just so very broken? Now, I'm not surprised that the fact that Toffee Waffy will be the one to perform. I mean, she does have around 690 hours on Killjoy, which is definitely a statement, but it's not enough to to break, I would say, the aggression or the dominance that SMG has set here on Pearl. Regardless, let's see if whether or not the girls from DV will be able to take away the second map. So we're gonna be right back for a quick break. When we come back, more VCT Game Changers APAC 2023.
Blinded. Enough. Enemy kill. One enemy remaining. That's done. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One down. Last player standing. One down. Drop it. 10 seconds. Last player standing.
got the money in the bank. Hit you with the bang. Hit you with the 808.
Welcome back, everyone. This is VCT Game Changers Open 3 APAC Series. Now, when we saw the match just now for Pearl from the top dogs against the underdogs, we saw SMG versus the Deviant Topaz. Deviant Topaz, their first time here on the big stage against the best of the best. It was definitely, I would say, a rougher run for them, but they definitely did try to take away the map that is so very dominantly held and held dear by SMG. But now moving on to the second map, we're going to be seeing Lotus. Now this is Deviant Topaz's map pick, and from this map they've played 6 maps total where they have had a 100% success rate. But on the flip side, if you look at SMG, they have an 80% success rate, but yet the maps they played for this was against Full Send Sapphire and Orangutan X, teams that are more high caliber and more experienced in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something that you would want to, balance off a 6-0 with a win rate of 100% versus, the experience that Team SMG has on the other side. I think it could be at least a 50-50 given that they have selected Lotus because of their experience of all of the wins that they've gotten. But with this untainted record, right, sometimes a lot of these teams will figure out. I think that's what happened in map number 1 for Team SMG in the map of Pearl, right? DV, they were getting a lot of these rounds during the defense, and then during the pause, it was just really more of taking in the calm, the meditation game that these members of Team SMG really take in so that they can wreak havoc and create chaos within the map of Pearl. And ever since that calm, when they munched on whatever that DV was doing, it was just steamrolling for Team SMG all throughout the map of Pearl. I am curious to see why DV has been getting all of these wins in Lotus. Probably it could be the coverage of their double initiator setup. We all know Unit to be just a firm initiator for the team, but Toffee Waffy is, as well as other members, they just stick to where the sites are. And I'm curious to see if they're going to be selecting the same composition as they did when they fought against Be My Team, their last Swiss stage battle, where Yuna was the Sky and as well as Panda as the Breach, because that's going to make all of the difference to try and stop Team SMG.
I think the biggest problem that Deviant Topaz had in the previous map was taking up space and holding on to it, because whenever they were to try and pick one off, there's always that trait potential coming in by Team SMG. And I think that it's going to be really curious how that Topaz is going to be remedying this. Coming into this game here, we're still going to be seeing a double initiator. Technically, we have a combination of like initiator as well as smoker coming in by their Omen as well as Toffee Waffy. I think that having a Killjoy in this map is really good. I was sort of surprised that Kohabi decided to switch to a Killjoy instead of running the Chamber. As we know, Chamber has been buffed, is a lot more stronger on this map.
Well, just Killjoy as an agent here in the map is just tried and tested, so why really deviate from what's currently working and what's effective for them to actually finish with a strong 2-0. But yes, I mean, Kohabi as a Chamber, she did so well in the map of Pearl too, so with these shots being fired against with the Headhunter and that Twin Force, I guess she's going to make all of the difference. But maybe map coverage is what they want with Kohabi as a Killjoy. And I do want to go back a little bit to what Deviant Topaz has selected, right? Sub has been so great as the duelist, but I think we really need more from her, given that she's going to go head-to-head against Alexi, who is so explosive when it comes to the Rays playing here on Lotus.
Truly, and on top of that, she's supplemented by an Aries Reyna who is just as aggressive. They can take up so much space, they can hold off so much space, which is definitely going to be something that's very, very important when it comes to this particular map. Because again, if you look at each map as pieces of a puzzle, it's about taking that puzzle and making sure to be able to hold it, to take away the space and deny that space to your teammates, as well as separating them. Again, it's a very, very big map. It depends on how exactly the timing of the alerts are also going to be. So this is going to be very, very important for Deviant Topaz to take into consideration. Regardless, the last time SMG played this map was against Full Sense, and again, against SMG Full Sense, we're never going to be seeing Full Sense lose this particular map. But my question is, what SMG has learned from that match, and does Deviant Topaz know what to do to counter what they've learned, is just going to be the question. Again, I have a lot of expectations for this team because of Folkslaw being their coach, as well as the experiences coming in from this teams. Regardless, as we go into the second map, whether it's going to be a 2-0 or 2-1, let's toss it over to our caster. It's going to be Zach and Raf.
Question that we might see answered as quickly as SMG would love to, right? But Deviant Topaz, they have been doing such a great job of just keeping their head up and weathering the storm. What is your forecast for this map, Zach? You were very, very excited for this, even on Pearl.
Yeah, because I think that our panelists also did bring it up. This is a map where Deviant Val, they have a perfect win streak. Of course, like Tash brought up, the caliber of the teams that they've played against compared to SMG, they might not have the same level of experience, but nevertheless, this is their home ground. And I think that Mr. Wingman right there agrees. Hello. But either way, I think that for Deviant Val, this is arguably their best chance to at least strike a blow against the powerhouse that is SMG, because last Open we saw that they're not completely invulnerable. They do have weak points, they do bleed, and this could be Deviant Val's chance to really like cement themselves in and be sure that, okay, look, we might not be the best known team out there, but we've been working for this and this is what we can do. And that could be a statement that they make by themselves on this particular map.
Once again, those early starts in the previous map have been such a great side for Deviant Topaz, especially in the face of SMG. They just have to be a little more consistent with their adjustment phase, and I'm also glad that you brought up the level of competition and pretty much who these teams had to beat to get to this point. If you look at Team SMG, they actually had a bit of a mini gauntlet from the Swiss stage. A lot of familiar names, and well, in SMG fashion, they're here undefeated for the most part. You could say the same thing about Deviant Topaz, but once again, experience is really the edge SMG have over this newer squad.
Yeah. And on a map like Lotus, I think that SMG, they have that experience that it needs to really counter whatever strategies that Deviant might have cooked up, because yeah, this is Deviant's counter comfort pick, but it's also a map that SMG have been playing for quite a while, and after their loss the last time around, I think that they've definitely gone back to the drawing board, made some changes and stuff. And overall, looking at how Pearl went through, right, it seemed like once Inari and Alexi got going, that double combo of that duelist, it was just too much for Deviant to really deal with, and unless they figure out a way to do it on this particular map, it's just going to be super difficult.
True, there is going to be quite a bit of a challenge on the side of Deviant Topaz to break through the SMG defense. Although what we are seeing here on SMG is a little bit different. If I remember correctly, SMG would love to run their sub-units here. They'd go for a 2-1-2 split, have the controller hard anchor the middle portion of the map, and kind of play around the Breach Neon CC. It doesn't seem like they're interested in going for a more aggressive stance here. Certainly, they're going to wait for, or hopefully Inari will snowball again. But look how measured everybody is. Deviant Topaz, they've seen, or at least felt some presence here. Inari has definitely announced it. Kohibi just sitting pretty here, unknowingly walking into Yuna's crosshair. But still, they still do have quite a few bodies to expend here, and quite a bit of utility on the side of Deviant Topaz if they can find a single member to snowball upon.
Yeah, Buddha still has that full kit, and Tara's gonna be all alone here, so the expectation is here. The flash comes through, Tara tries to go for the peak, but Yuna's still fighting for the second kill. Now inside the smoke, coming you finds it absolutely nasty right there. Still playing around it, looking for a little bit more, and it does in fact find it. Dodges the stun, but Buddha's still able to get the kill. Now Buddha, in a 1v2, has control of the spike, 15 seconds left, has to make a choice, A or B, and the choice itself seems to be towards that B side. Should at least be able to get a plant down, knows where the turret was, and with taken down. That's gonna be no more killjoy utility either. It's gonna come down to the timing. We'll be able to
no.
these fights, but Inari has the timing, has the position, and has the shot.
Indeed, that was an oh no moment. An airy, beautiful, beautiful timing there. Just really catching Huda trying to, I guess, create an angle for her. I thought that would have been a little risky on the side of SMG to somewhat isolate their players and go for a pincer. But, you know, they still won the round, so it doesn't really matter here. Camille holding down the fourth. And I feel like that's where it really went wrong on the side of Deviant Topaz. They had the numbers advantage first, and they certainly flooded Tara, but hey, one thing that we've talked about Camille is that sometimes she might not be up there in terms of volume, but her impact is forever felt, no matter what role she plays.
For sure. Camille and KO in particular is one of my favorites to watch on that map of Ascent. Or Camille in particular is just one of those players that's just incredibly flexible and really consistent across the board. Like, of course, you have Alexi and Inari, and even last couple of Open Shirazi, they have these pop-off moments, but Camille is always there in that support role, just setting them up for success. I really like that about her.
Yeah, the stability that she provides is a great compliment to the highs, the incredible highs that Inari and the rest of the squad can really push themselves, but there are no, again, lows because of the presence of Camille here, and Alexi just, well, it's okay. That was a trick shot. That was to scare off any would-be close traders. That was the play.
Yeah, so very overtly cautious. Alexi does put down the paint shells, now looking for a little bit more. Yuna's gonna hear the sound, but Alexi's not going all the way and just grabbing the gun and making sure it's out of the right here.
Spike
The
down,
turret to
C.
boot. 3 players, that is a turret, Inari and Gohaibi, just mowing down whatever remains of that Deviant squad. Yuna in a 1v5 situation, Sheriff in hand. What can she really do here? It's gonna be so difficult. Gets spotted out as well, and Inari will get that final kill with just a toast to boot. Okay, that's just insult to injury at this point.
Well, now she has a Sheriff. That was a calculated risk on the side of SMG, swinging with only the Ghost, and Inari off to another hot start here. One thing that we have to take note of, especially for SMG, no matter what comp they run, they seem to be the more active team. Whether it be a lot more active on the rotations, a little sharper on those smaller skirmishes. Because Deviant Topaz, these last 2 rounds, despite just being an eco, have been pretty much getting sandwiched in here. It looks like they're readying themselves for a default towards A. They have to respect Alexi's Marshall. That's already done quite a bit of damage here. Boom, is gonna take first contact. No damage whatsoever happening on both sides here.
Taking it very slow here. And of course for Deviant Val and Camille, just going through the door, able to at least find that first one. The Buddha is at least able to find that immediate trade. Now, race on race fight, trying to beat the charge here, take out Alexi, but Yuna will be able to do the job. That's going to open up the side for that spike to go down, and Toffee getting aggressive as well. We'll find the timing onto Tara here.
Spike planted.
And Eri the only one with an actual gun, so this might be just a little bit difficult, unless of course
Done.
Well, you might have signified something here for Eri. Like, wait a minute, that's right, Zach is right. All I have to do is pop off and pretty much maul the last 3 members on Deviant Topaz here, but it looks like it's going to be a crossfire being set up, but a small mistake, and Inari, despite being full blind, can feel where her enemies are, and it's reduced to 1v1. Gohaibi, so reliable and so clutch. Yet again, another knife to the heart of Deviant Topaz. That should have been their round. It should have been.
It should have been indeed, but Aries headshots and a bit of awkward spacing on site between the players. You did see the Breeze trying to put down a stun or flash, but got out in the open, and Aries was able to just capitalize and find that kill. And that is going to be SMG's bonus. That's going to give them a nice buffer when it comes to that economic advantage. Unfortunately for Deviant, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board, back to the economy to try and figure out how they can jump back into this. They do have a couple of these ults charged up here. The Seeker's online already for Era, and just one of the Rolling Thunder for Kuda, but SMG. Guess who has their Empress again, Raph?
Oh man. Of course, right? Of course. Mary, how many times do we have to tell you? Having your Empress at the 3rd round is not very nice. Against the opposing team, you gotta give them a chance to breathe, but enough of that. Gohaibi is also quite close to that lockdown, which is pretty insane for Killjoy. You do get opening frags here, but Inari really snowballing
Spike
off
down,
that hot
attacker
performance
spawn.
from at least the hot cat from
Player
the previous
standing.
round. And I thought that was a crispy shot being landed towards Safi here. TKC, the last person standing. Inari, of course, doesn't even need to use that Empress here. And we talked about SMG and their just potency on those first 4 rounds. Deviant Topaz allowed yet another gun round here and have a bit of an allowance for the ultimates. They do have pretty high impact. They have to segment SMG here. This death ball has just been true to its name. Pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah, I think that for SMG, at this point, Inari is just playing deathmatch. The rest of us, we have to think about strats and executes and everything else. For Inari, she exists on a separate plane, just visualizing the entire board, and it's just her tapping heads and playing deathmatch. At least that's what it looks from my point of view.
Look what you've done!
Look what I've done
got your
indeed.
trail.
All the deathmatch is gonna be catching her off guard as Toffee Luffy finds that crucial first split. Seeker's invested now. Try and gain a little bit more space off of that first kill, and they know that the A side is looking pretty free.
Free, or at least in the optics of Topaz potentially, as SMG, they're already gearing up for a bit of a retake here. We do have first line of defense in the form of Alexi. Does have a showstopper. Looking to invest it! And a beautiful dodge on the side of Deviant Topaz here. Tub limping a little bit, but getting patched up by Era.
Recalling my
Now,
boss.
a
Spike
big investment
down.
really on the side of SMG.
ultimate
They still power through with the weapons. That is going to be a bit of a problem too. The spike is down, but they're going to be separated by this lockdown. Potentially
Last
pushing
player
them out of
standing.
position, but it doesn't matter. Ara, the last person alive, and well, will be joining her teammates. Not too much of an investment on the side of Deviant Topaz. They still hang on to... Actually, no, I think they took the Seekers out for that round.
Yeah, they did invest them, and off the back of that, they were able to just take really good positioning. Of course, I think they expected that lockdown to come in as well. They were kind of ready for it if you saw the positioning of the 2 players off site, and they were just trying to hold down this crossfire. SMG also seemed to like play their cards a little bit early, tried to swoop in before that lockdown really ticked through, and just a couple of mistakes that Deviant Topaz were fully ready to capitalize on, apart from their own really good plays off the bat. Now that they have that win under their belt, they're feeling just a little bit more confident, still have those crucial ultimates, that lockdown and that rolling thunder in particular to work with, and with the help of this orb, it's going to be tough with the showstopper to boot, so several ultimates that give them the potential to really make this round turn in on its head.
That could be
no.
a possibility here, but Alexi not getting any frags off of that swing. And I like that you mentioned that this is probably where Deviant Topaz is going to find a little bit of relief and just confidence. It's those intangibles that you have to remind yourself that you're also really, really good. You made it this far, can't stop now. And it looks like they're going to go for a full commitment towards C. The lockdown being invested already, so SMG have to vacate and wait. Just a few more seconds before they spring the trap.
planted.
What do they have on their side to counteract this? It is Inari with the Empress. It is going to wind down though, and potentially can't find anybody here as, again, GB needs to be a little more receded. The fights are going to come. Yuna's going to open it up, and SMG, quick to pretty much counterpunch.
One enemy remaining.
KC again, no flanks allowed, no cheeky positioning. Dissecting this attacking team yet again is SMG.
Out of charges.
Sometimes I wonder who's on attack. The way the way SMG likes to go in for these retakes here, really aggressive, and also the presence of mind. You did see PSC kind of trying to make that lurk play happen, but SMG just so aware of the possibility. They're able to just play for the time, make sure that they go in as a team, and eventually find the defuse. The confidence in an area, despite having that Empress, just go for that stick there. It just speaks multitudes as to how this team really functions as a coherent unit. Now, I think last game an area was, what was it, 24-8, 24-5. This game it is going to be 10-2 already, and we're only 6 rounds in, Ralph.
I don't want to do the math, but that's a lot. That's a lot. You
That
know?
is a lot.
Placing
SMG, one thing that I really like about SMG is that they're really not shying away from this very forward playstyle, despite knowing full well that they can go for something a little more intricate. Once again, Deviant Topaz, they prove that they can shed those layers away from SMG, but as soon as SMG feels like they can just bull rush you, they will do it. And that is actually going to shoo away Deviant Topaz from this
Raised
hit. Duel is going to the favor of Inari again. A raid boss, perhaps. charging up that Empress 1 kill at a time as DV with their weaker weapons still trying to look for some space, some meaningful map control here as they're being pushed towards, again, their quote-unquote safe side of the map.
It's just been looking so rough for them. You have that initial aggression on that A side. Kohaimi just holding down the fort on E with Tara from back to boot. And that paranoia connects with absolutely everybody on the side of DV. Tara just able to swoop in, find a kill, and
30
still hold down
seconds
the
left.
fort with the help of those dark covers. Though Kavyu joining in the fray to boot. And it's just this attack from DV. They haven't even been given a chance to even get close to getting into sight. They're just being pincered and torn apart.
That's exactly why there were quotation marks when I said safe side, because SMG, they will really
is safe.
find
10
yeah,
seconds
nowhere is
left.
safe. Absolutely nowhere is safe. SMG though,
remaining.
one thing that I really do
Flawless.
appreciate from them, despite their risky
the words
playstyle
of
on
our
paper,
server,
all of it is very controlled. It's very rare for us to see SMG in a position where it's considered a true overextension, where a player would find either very little value or risking the rest of her team. Not the
30
case most of
seconds
the time
left.
here. As we mentioned, a little bit suffocated, Zach, just a tiny bit, despite having that, again, confidence spike from that one win a few rounds ago.
Timeout gonna be called now, I believe, and it's probably a good time because they're gonna have their bye again, and they're also close to those Seekers. So the one round that they win, I think the Seekers were a factor in detecting that A site was kind of free of opponents to deal with. So maybe that's an ultimate that they can use to full advantage once again. For the side of SMG, though, they're close to a couple of ults. In particular, that showstopper is what I have my eyes on from Alexi. Kamiyu also only 3 away from the Seekers. Which we might see coming into play this round or the next one. So I think for Deviant, the biggest problem that they have is really being able to take these fights with some kind of an advantage, because you saw in that previous round that engagement on that C side, it was just 2 players from SMG holding down that angle, especially with that molly being put down by Kohaimi to narrow that angle, make it very easy for them. Same problem with B, right? You have the turret constantly backing you up, acting as that player 6. And of course on A, it's just that initial aggression from Kamiyu as well as Alexi so often that it just seems like DB, they don't have the answers really too. So they need to figure out, number one, how they can deal with this SMG's aggression, but also more than that, how they can really take up space on any of these sides, because so far they've been failing at that.
I agree. In SMG, they've been doing such a great job of freezing that activity on the offensive side. We rarely see any lurk threats on Deviant Topaz, but they do have a bit of a bright spot. Puda finding Alexi. So the utility will stay alive, but Inari, as you mentioned, not afraid of pushing the tempo, but this time just a little off-tune, off-beat with that dance, as Deviant Topaz are going to find the duelist. So any front-facing aggression on the side of SMG may be
One
absent.
enemy remaining.
Ara is going to try and salvage the situation, but she's going to be the last member alive yet again. Has a teleport
Spike
to
planted.
her name, but again, despite how good SMG is, I'm not sure how this is going to go. Toffee already on that flank, ready to punish, and a second round on the board for Deviant Topaz.
as good as their skill.
They didn't find the answers. Like, the positioning by Toffee there for most of the round was just absolutely insane. Ready to catch SMG on that flank and rotation. Able to really, like, isolate this fight somehow. But first taking down Kohaimi, knowing there's a second player, winning out that battle too. And of course, knowing that Tara is gonna be coming in through that flank side, able to just go around and take that final kill as well. Really, really clean play coming out of Toffee. They're also gonna enable her to get that lockdown online sooner rather than later. So again, Deviant, they have a potential for a lot of these snowball ultimates to really take this round coming in. They're looking a little bit more confidence as well,
Wow.
but that is going to be punished by a page from Alexi. Really well thrown.
Not entirely sure how that transpired on the side of Deviant Topaz, and it's these small plays that SMG are really, again, cementing their defense and giving a lot of hesitation, or making the Deviant Topaz hesitate quite a bit. They're completely blind now, and another guiding light is going to be thrown their way. Thankfully, they kind of come out unscathed, but
enemy
Alexi
remaining.
is already here.
Spike down.
Once again, corner Topaz, and the gem is breaking. Yuna's trying to keep it together for as long as she can. That is lucky number 7 for SMG.
7-2, the lead extending further and further. Last time it was a 9-3 half. The question is, can TV improve that score on their map pick? And it seems like they're trying to, at the very least. They have found 2 so far, but SMG, they're just so quick to adapt. They've been kind of playing passively those last couple of rounds, but in the previous one, they were willing to once again go for the hyper aggressive push onto that ace site. And Deviant, they found a bit of confidence after that round win, but that kind of lulled them into a false sense of security. You saw how it went down to the flash and shells combination, and it's still going down every round, right? That's kind of the default, the conditioning that SMG are putting them through. A site, you're gonna face this bunch of utility. You really don't want to come here at the onset, and they take so much space off the back of it.
One enemy remaining.
I think that they do have the lockdown in play as well as that Rolling Thunder. So these are some ultimates that could really help them to take control of the site. Goibi doesn't have hers online yet either, so that could be another factor in this because it just gives you a free site. There's no real way for SMG to deal with it apart from heading in and charging through. Top though able to take that first kill down, finding that raise diff onto Alexi for the first time, but Ineri just there for the trade, and Ineri does not stop, looking for even more, going on the hunt. There's a reason why the Reyna ult is so devastating, and they just went away from it. We might see that coming into play this round.
Potentially, and it seems that they've been funneled towards B here. SMG, they're ready and they are waiting, but the utility is just too much to deal with. Yuna already getting the kill on top of high B. The Sentinel falls and the wall potentially breaks. Ineri is soon to follow. Camille, so reliable. They're getting a few kills to their name, but Puda is sick of this. They are going to get yet another round. SMG,
Last round
again,
before
quick
the switch.
retake, at least a quick attempt. Even Topaz finally finding a little bit of resistance without using those big ultimates. Very, very important for them in this coming final round of the half,
That's
at
gonna
least.
set them up. Yeah, it's gonna really help them in confirming this round if they have a chance to use it. But on the opposite side, you see Camille finally picking up that operator. Another thing I really like about SMG, you never know who's gonna be holding onto that operator. It could be Ineri, it could be Camille, it could be Shirazi when she's playing. It's just so dangerous, and you have to be really careful about how you're walking into site. You got lockdown, it seems like they want to go for a very straightforward PNC here, and that does seem to be the call as they head into it. Rolling Thunder gonna be looking for that post back most likely. That's a really nice finish out. And Tara just doesn't move, takes down Tub in the process, and it's actually pretty good because it's nice that Puda didn't go down. It was Tub going down instead.
That's right. Still a lot of utility for that post plant on the side of Deviant Topaz here. That stun is going to delay this retake just a little bit more. The guiding light will cause a lot of chaos, but Camille is going to fall. And Deviant Topaz, they are really cutting through this SMG defense now. And Ari ready to put on the crown to declare she's the Empress. So far, it's kind of stuck in a corner here. That is going to force her to take the fight. And my goodness, she still manages to win it out. 1v1 now. Toffee, 5 HP. Only needs one bullet to land on the skull of Inari. Inari holding patient, and she swings! And that is yet another 3k for her to close out the half.
And there's gonna be just enough time for the defuse to come in as well. Almost enough time bought, but just not enough at the end of it. A 1v3 for Inari
Switching
to
sides.
confirm all of those kills. And with less than half a second left on the timer, it will be another 9 half for us. But, you know, as we said, before we head back into the second half, I think that our panelists have quite a bit to say after that first half, because there was a lot there.
Wow, despite the fact that Deviant Topaz did pick Lotus, and while SMG did struggle on this map against Full Sense, but clearly this map is no trouble against Deviant. When you look at how they play, we are seeing a lot of very aggressive plays, a lot of aggressive takes, and I would say aerial denial by SMG. It's really interesting how DV tries to answer it, and whenever a DV finds an answer, SMG seems to just change the tempo once again.
Yeah, definitely. I think SMG, what they've done in Pearl, they're doing it again now in the map of Lotus. However, I think even if DV did choose this specific map, Lotus seems to be the playground of Team SMG only because of how they would reclaim the sites, right? We were left with a 2v4, and with just Kohaibi and Neri left standing, they still reclaimed and won the round anyway. These are just some things that really DV have to take note of. They might stand a chance against them during the defense, but if SMG keeps on playing the way that they play during the first half, I guess that untainted record of them in Lotus might just really get tainted now.
I think it's also really important to talk about how SMG has these round adjustments. Whenever we see Deviant have this, I would say, an idea on how exactly to break the defenses of SMG, like say in round number 11 where they managed to get a B site very, very clean, we saw them do it again in the next round. But the difference now is that SMG understands that they don't have to really rush inside. They play explosively, they play together, and you also have a Neri who's able to get a pick, move around, get information, and then reposition again due to that dismiss. And I think it gives her so much value because of how aggressively she can play. On top of that as well, I think that for DV, their timing has been kind of broken because of the lurks, because of the pincers, and they're not able to play together as a unit because of that. Regardless, as we go into the second half, let's see how they fare on the defense, whether it's going to be a comeback or not. I'm going to toss it over back to Zach as well as Raf. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Tash and Dona. Now, the second half, it's 4 rounds away for SMG to cement their victory in 2-0 fashion as they are used to. But there is still a glimmer of hope here, Ralph, for Deviants. This is their map. This is somewhere that they've proven to be comfortable on in the past. Maybe they can do the impossible and make that comeback happen.
Lotus is also one of those maps where it's incredibly fickle. A lot of teams can start off very, very shaky on the defending end and can snowball on the attacking side, but I guess that doesn't really support what you just said because SMG is attacking and Deviant Topaz is on the defense, but I do completely agree that this is going to be their comfort pick. This is where they really have to pretty much how do I put this? They really have to buckle down. You know, even Topaz, they've had a few issues here and there with, say, routing and maybe just trying to find the timing of SMG. Well, he's been already prepped, and SMG, they're just going to run right through this. I don't think Tub is going to be expecting any sort of company pushing through the smoke. She's going to be left alone for now as Alexi climbing up the rope, telling Yuna to just vacate the site. Deviant Topaz, they want to go for this retake.
Domed in the head, and off the back of that kill, SMG, they have control of this top side, so it's looking a little bit more difficult. You do have that flame coming in from Deviant, opening the door. That's going to give away the sound cue, and Kohaibi, that first point of contact, a beautiful paranoia to set up Kohaibi for these kills. Does quite a bit of damage in the process as well. These flashes aren't quite connecting, and it's one enemy remaining. Kohaibi fighting the trades here, 2 kills with that Sharon, and on side it's going to be Tara and Tomiyu cleaning up the rest of these players. SMG take the pistol, double digits for them, 10-3.
Oh my, and this is where usually where we see a choice coming in from Deviant Topaz. Are they going to force it out? BKC seems to be leaning towards that direction, and the SMGs are already coming out, Zach. I mean, this did not really bode well for them on Pearl, but Lotus will allow them to use the range of these SMGs just a little bit better. They don't have to really worry about long angles on the post plant if that ever happens. But Inari, with that signature Vandal, still brimming with confidence, and for all the right reasons, she's been pretty much unstoppable coming into this entire series. Alexi wants to get close and personal here, waiting on the utility of her teammates. Trailblazer is going to waiting on the other side of the smoke, and the judge has pretty much given its verdict, and that's -1 for Topaz already.
Play remaining.
Minus everybody at this point. It's just going to be Yuna left in a 1v5 right now. This force fight not at all going how the side of Deviant would have wanted it. In fact, it's going to be a team ace flawless for SMG to bring them to 11. And once again, just like Pearl, it's going to be Deviant in a very rough position economically. Do they save and give SMG that match point for free? They try another force, and of course, Princess Alexi just delivering down the judgment on high on that range. Something that I personally really like. She likes to get up close and personal. We saw it on Pearl. We're seeing it now. And I just feel really bad for whoever gets caught in the grasp of her judge because it's just not a nice weapon to go down to.
It really is not. It makes everyone feel quite a few things. You know, it is one of those weapons with that type of effect. And you did mention Princess Alexi. We have the Empress herself, and Eri also, the entire kingdom of SMG down onto Deviant Topaz here. And you did mention that a choice would have been made to force, but it seems like they are going to give match point away and just potentially play for that tie, for that overtime.
Once again, Alexi sitting in the smoke, judge in hand, looking like here. Find both of the kills along with an Eri bump for support. Once again, finish for the side of
one enemy remaining
with the Vegeta towards the back, is able to find that kill onto Gohaibi, but it's just gonna be one coming down as SMG. They find match and series point, one away from moving on in that upper bracket and cementing their win.
My goodness, the round differential in these last two maps have been staggering on the side of SMG. And why am I even surprised? You know, they've been doing this time and time again. They've been as consistent can be. Deviant Topaz, they now finally have a gun round in there, at least available to them. Not quite close to any of those really big ults that you need to turn around the fight. SMG, they have every single advantage they could ask for. The only kicker is that Alexi still stuck with a judge. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Tara has an SMG, but they have found ways around that.
I mean, for Alexi, it's probably a good thing. The last couple of rounds, she's been finding those entries with it very, very easily, I gotta say. So, honestly, it's not a good thing for Deviant, but it's a pretty great thing for Alexi. Also, charging up these ultimates, Camille won off of those Seekers. I feel like, you know, if somehow Deviant, they do manage to find this round, they do have the weapons at least to contend with it on an equal footing. The next couple of rounds are going to be really rough because SMG, they're just charging up these ultimates. So it just seems more and more inevitable for this map to not really go in their favor. Deviant need 9 rounds in a row against SMG to take this to overtime and even have a possibility of a map 3. And kudos to them. We saw individual moments of greatness. Like we saw Yuna on this particular map hitting a couple of really nice shots. Toffee as well, both on Pearl and here, has had her moments, but overall, SMG, they just seem to be the more experienced team, and that's okay because we've seen all these players for the last 2 years. It's what happens when you build a super team.
True, and it's not like SMG have won literally everything.
It's
all good. Toffee's gonna backpedal away. She's gonna find a bit of C here. And SMG is just one Infinity Stone away from snapping Deviant, at least away from the winner's bracket here. And it already looks like the Infinity Gauntlet is doing hella work. BKC, quite a bit of resistance. 2v3, still very, very doable.
One enemy remaining.
And that Rolling Thunder would have been such a nice ultimate to have. But even the existence of Puda upsets the members of SMG. They will remove her from play. A 1v3, BKC gets one. Makes it a little bit easier. Neri staring her prey down. Finally, well, going for another 2-0 is SMG.
Yeah, it was what we expected. Like you mentioned, the Infinity Stones are on the gauntlet, the snap has come through, this was inevitable, and SMG, they find yet another victory. But like we were talking about before that round started out, really, kudos to Deviant as well. They've shown that, you know, they've been grinding for this since last year. They've been trying to really make it to playoffs, and they've demonstrated that they made it. Now, there's still a tall mountain for them to climb, but they're doing it step by step. And like we talked about, those individual glimmers that we saw coming out of their players, this is something that they can really build upon in the future. And it's not entirely over for them. Who knows? Maybe they'll make that dream lower bracket run to come back into this one. But at least for the series, SMG, they're going to be the one taking the thrones away.
Thank you very much, our casters, Raf, as well as Zach. Now, coming into that game, while we did see glimmers of hope for the side of Deviant Topaz, there were rounds that looked very good for them. The fact of the matter is, I think that the experience coming through by SMG, the years of competing, just, you know, DV can't hold a candle to that, but it is very invaluable experience to them regardless. And let's talk a little bit about that game just now. I think there are so many rounds that I really want to talk about, and I think like coming into that, I think the first half was more pivotal to DV because on the second half, DV wasn't able to win pistol, and pretty much everything else is history.
Yeah, I think what DV has shown would be the sparks, right? Which the casters had mentioned. But I think sparks aren't really enough to be able to try and like oppose a team like SMG. You would need a lot of work, a lot of effort for you to take down the best here in APAC Game Changers. But those rounds that they actually won against Team SMG, after a little while, they become a little bit more complacent. They think that they can win the next one. But SMG, they're quick on their toes, they're quick on their feet, and they easily adjust to their opponents. And that's the reason why Ineri, right? We also that Ineri was just doing Reina things. We saw the value of the agent with kill after kill, even if Reina in this specific map isn't as high of a pick rate globally, but we make it happen because of Ineri. Looking at the stats, right, with the first kills going majority in favor of Team SMG, that's really gonna be tough competition for DV. But as mentioned by the casters, right, there's more for them to learn, and there's more for them to show in the lower bracket run, and maybe face against Team SMG if they have the chance.
I think it's really important to talk about like why Ineri is such a good pick on this map. Is the matter of the fact is having Ineri in the front line alongside Alexi, the trade potential is very high. Ineri picks up, gets a pick, she's able to move away, and then her teammate comes up forward, is able to trade up as well. So even though we see a buddy system going around for DV who is trying to have that pick, I would say a trade to happen, it's really hard when the first people you meet is going to be Ineri and Alexi. On top of that as well, I think the timing has just a little bit off, not just off, but just basically broken down by SMG. Because one thing if we notice is that yes, we can see Airy try to rotate off, try to do those lurks, but how many times has those lurks been, I would say, thwarted by SMG? How many times have the lurks has been a little bit too late because of how explosively SMG just breaches onto the site? Now even on the on attack side for SMG, I think the biggest thing that's so important to them is just how quickly they can get onto the site. Yes, DV wants to play retake, but the matter of the fact is once the retake has been done, once they have time to adjust and hold in for those post plants, it's almost impossible to break into, I would say, situations for post plants. So that's the so the biggest problem or takeaway now is just the speed that SMG has here is just not able to be followed by DV. And on top of that, when DV thinks they have a momentum of the game, when they have understanding of the rhythm, SMG just denies them of that. Regardless, as we go into the end of this first series, 2-0 in favor of SMG, we still have one more series for you later here on the main channel, so don't go anywhere. More VCT Game Changers APAC 223 coming right at you.
Shoot. One enemy. All in my box. Spike planted. Hit. Player standing.
coming off the bench now. Waiting for this moment, swinging for the